Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. So today we're going to do a standing talking video because it's really windy and there's a lot of noise everywhere we go and there's motorcycles. So enjoy the new format. Tell us if you like this. We're going to start doing our walks again, but today we're not. So basically, the name of this article says 99% of Americans will be financially worse off than they were pre-pandemic by mid-2024, JPMorgan says.
Huh.
It's an article.
Okay.
Okay. It's not me. It's an article that they're talking about. So
Right.
I'm just going to go over the article.
Okay.
All right. Hey, do me a favor. If you like this kind of content, do me a favor. Consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. All right. First thing. JPMorgan said the vast majority of Americans have burned through the excess of savings. I think that's true. I know a lot of people, because I mean, people were getting their checks in the mail and all that stuff, and a lot of people went on a shopping spree because you couldn't buy anything because you couldn't find anything.
Right. So we were getting the stimulus checks back a couple years ago, and then there was nothing to really spend it on per se, and everybody was locked in.
Yeah. So now, they got out, and now my friend is in the trucking industry, and he says the trucking industry sucks.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody's buying anything because everybody's running out of money.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I'm really, really curious. Like we had a Black Friday video.
Yes.
And I went to Target, Home Depot, Walmart. It was freaking empty. The Black Friday was like a regular day.
Right. I want to see those numbers. You know how they do the Black Friday? I haven't seen them yet, but I'm really curious to see that because I think a lot of people do shop online still, versus going into the stores. Yeah.
Let's continue with this. It's likely all but the top 1% of consumers will be worse off financially in mid-2024 than they were pre-pandemic, the bank said. Bank of America wrote that elder millennials face a particularly tough set of circumstances. It's true. Okay?
The older millennials?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the 40s?
Yeah, it's basically, because they still have kids, they're not moved out of the house. Costs of everything went up.
Yes.
Insurance, homeowners, property taxes. I think that they are going to have a hard time.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's having a hard time, realistically. But yeah, I mean, if you've got family, you're still hopefully they're working. But it's going to be tough. It's hard on everybody right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're young, you can just, okay, I'm 20 years old, just say, and you can say, all right, I'll go live with mom and dad.
Right.
Excuse me. So, yeah, so I think that I think that's a true statement.
Yeah.
80% of consumer groups account for nearly 2/3 of consumptions. 80% of consumers, a group that accounts nearly 2/3 of consumption, has already depleted the savings cushions that may be built during lockdowns. So 2/3 ran out of savings.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we've seen the articles come out where credit card is now starting to go up. The Bankers Association has reported that the people's savings accounts are starting to deplete, and which all points to obviously this inflation that we have going on right now, and people have to dip into their back pocket to pay for everyday goods.
All right, so let's continue. Only the top 1% of consumers by income will be better off than the pre-pandemic. Like only 1% of people are going to be better off. Well, the rest of the people aren't going to be better off. Mm-hmm. That's what this article is saying. JPMorgan estimates previously that excess savings has peaked in August of 2021 at $2.1 trillion.
Oh.
Boosted by government stimulus checks.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's since been whittled down to $148 billion per the firm's calculations as of October.
Wow.
So wait a second. If I'm reading this right, people's savings went from 2.1 trillion to 148 billion. Man, people went on the shopping spree.
That's a lot of money.
That's
nationally,
insane.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. That's crazy. Tell me what you guys think. Comment below on that. Do you guys still have savings from the pandemic, or did you guys go out and blow it all? Didn't save anything? I'm curious. Yeah, put a comment below. All right, let's continue. Consumers are facing the tighter credit conditions as rates have risen, which is true.
Yep.
Okay, even mortgages, car loans. The car repos are going through the roof right now.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm shopping for a vehicle and I'm trying to find, the deal of the century. I'm still trying to find a deal. If you're a car dealer and stuff and you have the deal of the century, call me. But that's what I'm saying. It's just now to get an auto loan, they got really, really strict.
Yeah, they did.
Just a year ago, pretty much anybody could get it. Now there's I read that Capital One may not be doing auto loans. Don't quote me on that, but
Wow.
But a lot of people are just saying, because the repos, everybody went out and they wanted to buy these shiny new cars and go crazy, and they had $1,000 car payments or $1,200 car payments, and now they can't afford it.
Right.
It's crazy. So basically, that's one of the reasons it's declining, the savings. All right, let's talk about this. Down your wheelhouse. Pending home sales have dropped to a record low, even worse during the 2008 financial crisis. So, according to this article, is it true? I don't know. But they said that during 2008, it's the decline. Okay.
Okay, so it's how they're wording. So I'm trying to think how they're wording this.
So let's read it. Okay, pending home sales dropped to a record low in October, with the number of signed contracts dropped below levels seen during the 2008 financial crisis.
So it sounds like they're saying October of this year to October of 2008.
Right. They said sales were down 1.5% in October from September.
Yep, that's
down
correct.
8.5% from October 2022, according to the National Association of Realtors.
Right. That's correct.
Okay? It's the lowest pending sales figure recorded in 22 years since NAR began tracking statistics.
Okay, yeah. So they're on point there. Because they're comparing a month to a specific other month is what they're doing. And we were low. We've talked about this. October was a very, very slow month. But now things are starting, remember, data is always lagging, So, and they did mention in there at least that signed contracts, not closings. So there's a difference between somebody who went under contract in the month of October versus closings in the month of October, to November to December.
Yeah.
So they're picking a specific stat that we had the least amount of signed people who went under contract in October. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
All right. So let's continue.
And October was a slow month.
It was a slow month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing I was doing insurance inspections. During October, mortgage rates were at their highest. That's probably the reason. Okay? And contract signings for existing homes were at their lowest in 20 years, said Lawrence Young, NAR chief economist. Supply and demand, the drop in sales indicated reduced home buying demand, which eventually leads sellers to lower the prices. So, some people did get scared. And if you go on, let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
Because I have I'm not even a realtor, but I have one of my inspection clients say, hey, everybody's dropping prices. Like, if you go to Zillow right now and you pick a neighborhood, you're probably going to see reduction. I just did it for Hudson, recently.
Yeah.
In your opinion, is it because they didn't price it correctly? The realtor didn't price it correctly with the seller? Mm-hmm. Is that what you think it was?
So in some instances, that answer is yes. When you're pricing, it's hard, and I completely understand this. You're looking at all the numbers that are on these different platforms, and this person sold this, 6 months ago, a year ago, for this amount. Things have cooled since then, and that's not the market that it is today. So sometimes people list a little too high, and then of course you're comparing things. It depends on how people compare. So let's say everything in your neighborhood has sold for X, but they're all renovated or partially renovated, and you haven't done anything in 20 years. But you're like, well, that one sold for this, so mine should sell for this.
Yeah.
And now I've had to drop it. So because the market spoke to you.
Right.
And that's basically what it boils down to.
So basically, a demand declines, basically.
Yep.
And a lot more buyers are willing, a lot more sellers are willing to negotiate with the buyers.
I agree with that. Yeah, because we have shifted slightly, we're still far from a buyer's market or even a balanced market to where it's not one-sided, but you are starting to see some contingencies get accepted. One of them is inspections, which I think is fantastic.
And I'm finally starting to see 7-day inspection periods and 10-day inspection periods.
That's what I mean. That's not the end of the world, everybody. It's normal.
Before, it was like, oh, I put a 3-day inspection period or a 24-hour inspection. You're like, come on.
It's. I get it. Nobody wants their property off the market, etc. There's tactics involved with that too. But you got to have, inspections. We got to have an inspection period that's normal. This is very, very normal.
Yeah. All right. So here's something you talk about a lot. The median existing home price for all house types in October was $391,800, an increase of 3.4% from October 2022 at $378,800, according to NAR, National Association of Realtors. That follows 8-month stretch of consecutive house price increases.
Yes.
So I thought prices were crashing. That's why everybody's reducing.
They're not. This is why I say that you have to look at the entire picture. So if we just look at one little snippet, like a month, right? And then we go, oh, everything went down compared to this time last year. Well, what were the interest rates? Like in October, interest rates went through the roof, so of course everything plummeted. And then we're going to see a cycle where everything comes back up. But, if you look at, if it's like stocks, they come up and they go down, they come up and they go down. And then at the end of the year, you look and see what you made. Were you up or were you down? Annual. And that's why we're still up.
Yeah, so it continues. House prices jumped by 3.9%, like we talked about, a 2.6% jump in August, according to CoreLogic's Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index. Okay, 6.5%, well above. They basically increased 6.6% according to them. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's pretty much. All right, so let's talk about why prices are still so high. I just want your opinion on this one.
Okay.
Okay, I have what it here basically is inventory.
Yes.
Rates are still high, higher.
Well, rates being high, you would think, would lower prices.
Well, a lot of people...
As an incentive, because you can only afford so much.
Yeah, but they're not selling. The people aren't giving up their house.
Oh, you mean like, okay, I got you. Rates that they're locked in at, not current rates.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Yep.
So I think it's just lack of inventory.
Right, so we have a lack of inventory. Prices are still staying high because we gained equity. At the end of the day, we've gained equity, and there's just not enough inventory to where you're going to see this massive plummet off of a cliff.
And builders are building like crazy, at least here in Florida, and I know they're building in Texas and some other places a little crazy and stuff. And we did a video on new construction might be a better deal than existing homes.
Still is.
I'll post that one below. You guys should really watch that one. But I think 2024 is going to be better.
Yeah.
Okay, overall. I know at the beginning, I don't think that, in my opinion, 2024 at the beginning, I'm not a financial person or, consultant or anything like that. I'm just a normal person like you guys. But I think the first few months of 2024 might be rough until they start cutting rates.
I agree. We're going to pass the holidays and go into Jan 1, and then all of a sudden it's going to be better. This is going to be a very slow, gradual, adjustment and stabilization over the year of 2024.
Because plus next year is an election year. You don't think they're going to try to make things as good as possible or easy as possible?
Of course.
I mean, after the election, it could be a totally different story.
Right.
And what happens, depending who's in there or whatever. But it might be a totally different story. But I just think, again, as I say, Bill's not a financial guy. I'm not a financial guy. This is just our opinions. Seek, professional accounting stuff, financing, because I just think the first few months are going to be rough.
Yeah, it is. We're going to be a little rough, and we're in tax season, the whole shebang. So,
that's what I'm saying. If people worry about, the taxes, and they're going to get refunds, and hopefully when they get their refunds, they'll save the money.
Right, and again, it's just going to be a slow, steady. But again, we don't want these crazy waves.
Yeah.
Up, down. We want to get this. We want a nice stable. We got to get like stable and calm, back to normal, and then that's better for everybody.
Yeah. Anyways, that's today's video. Unless you have anything to think.
Nope. I appreciate you watching.
Listen, if you guys would do me a favor, just consider subscribing. It really helps. I'm trying to reach 1 million subscribers. I said that in the last one. So everyone counts. But it would be appreciated. Thank you, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Okay, bye.
Bye.